Hello, this is Watch All About with another watch review, and in this review we're looking at the latest offering from Phoibos, who usually do homage watches, mainly submariner homages, but in this case the Eagle Grey is their first foray into unique individual design. So let's have a look. First of all, you get this nice leather travel case. Open it up, we've got an extra rubber strap. Nothing too exciting there, but a nice little bit to hold it in. We also have some cards for warranty and instructions, etc. And then here we have the watch itself in question. So their first original design, price-wise, it's RRP is $519 or £400. Currently, though, you can get it for a cheaper rate of $359 or £275, so that's a lot more reasonable in my eyes. However, they've done a really good job, considering it's their first original design. They've done a really, really nice job. So we'll have a look at it in closer detail and discuss some different aspects of it. So specs first. I've got about a 7¼ inch wrist for your reference. So if I just pop it on. So we have a diameter of 41 mil, a height of 13.2 mil, and a lug-to-lug length of 47 mil. So a really nice size. I think the 41 mil is a really, really nice sweet spot. It's not too big. It's not like crazy like 42 or 43 mil, but 41 mil, you still got a fair bit of visual aroma there, if you will. And the height as well is not too crazy high. It will slip underneath jumpers, etc. Probably not cuffs, but it's a diver watch, so you're unlikely to be wearing it for cuffs, with cuffs anyway. Weight is 92 grams, so you do have a nice feel to it, but not too heavy either. It's easy to wear all day long if you so desire. Water resistance is a pretty impressive 30 atmospheres or 300 meters as well, which is a good thing. Usually you see around 150 or 200 marks, so 300 meters is pretty impressive. 20 mil lug width as well, so it's easy to find replacement straps if you need to. 2-year warranty along with the watch as well. And finally, the movement is a Miyota 9015, which is pretty good. It's obviously an upgrade to the Seiko NH35A we see so often. So that's obviously, this Miyota 9015 is obviously high beats, so 28.8 thousand beats per hour, 8 ticks a second. Hacking seconds, hand winding, and automatic winding as well. This one's coming in at a pretty reasonable minus 8.5 seconds a day as well, so nice and reasonably accurate. So let's start off with the dial then and have a look at this in closer detail. So first of all, I really, really like the radial gradient to the backdrop of it. It draws the eye into the center of the watch, center of the dial nicely. But it's done in a subtle way as well. It's not too bright, not too brash, or a little bit cheap and tacky looking. I like the very gentle color change. It's a little bit classier than a harsher color change, for instance. I also like the syringe-shaped hands. Not something that you necessarily see too often on a diving watch. Usually, a Mercedes hand or something different, big fat swords or something. So if I can get a reflection of it, you can see them quite nicely reflecting in the light as well, with their polished surround and lume filled, as well as the hour markers. Pretty standard hour markers, really. Discs and then a few little batons at the corners as well. I also really like the date wheel located at 6. I think it keeps the dial nice and symmetrical, but also the black date wheel as well merges in nicely with the gradiented backdrop of the dial. Printed logo, probably a little bit too large for my personal taste, for my liking. I think if it was a bit smaller, it would look a little bit more classy, a little bit more elegant. That's just personal taste though. And then we have a pretty bold minute track surrounding the outside. It's also nice the way that the gradient sort of goes into the dark black, which then goes nicely into the black ceramic bezel insert as well. So really nice design. I think the logo could be a little bit smaller, but apart from that, they've done a really, really good job here. It's a nice and bold and striking, but simple enough and very legible as well. And the loom is pretty good. If I can get a shot here, you can see we've got sort of like a blue tinge to it as well, which matches the blue dial nicely. So pretty good on that also. Moving on to the case then. Something I really like about the watch is this shark fin style grip to the bezel and also to the crown as well. As you can see, it aids grip. It not only does it look good, but it aids grip as well. It's so easy to use, and the bezel action itself is just really smooth and buttery as well. So that's a really good plus. It's also got the ceramic insert, which is a good addition rather than just a stainless aluminium insert. Provides a really nice shiny reflective backdrop to it as well. And then these details on the bezel are all accurately engraved, like drilled out and then filled with loom as well. Moving on to the case itself then, everything is really well machined, really sharp edges. Just high quality manufacture is apparent on the case in general. Like these edges along here, all really accurate, really neatly done. And then if we have a look at the crown, again we have that sort of grip, which is really easy to use. An interesting like typhoon-y kind of engraved pattern on the end there, which isn't really relevant, but it looks nice. And it's got a bit of a bulge to it as well, which again is unusual in design, but it looks pretty good. Moving on to the caseback, pretty standard for Phoibos. The logo octopus motif in the center, surrounded by various details. Nothing too exciting in terms of the caseback, but it's nice to see obviously the engraving here and the effort that's been put into it. The strap, this is supposedly waterproof leather. I never really trust it, but if you do get it wet, it's probably going to be better protected than standard leather. This was incredibly squeaky to begin with, so don't be surprised if when you get one it will be really squeaky. But I have been wearing it and finally it has stopped squeaking. I can hear it squeaking ever so slightly, but it doesn't squeak anymore when I'm wearing it. It was that squeaky when I was wearing it, it was squeaking away. So that has eventually stopped, which is good. I'm not entirely sure on the texture on top, sort of like a cross-hatchy texture. I don't personally think it goes too well with the entirety of the watch. So it's not my favourite strap, but it's nice and thick, nice and supple, easy to wear as well. Another disappointment is the tang buckle as well, really plain and simple. I mean, with the RRP of $520 or £400, you'd expect something a little bit better than this. Well, I certainly would anyway. So that's a bit of a disappointment. Okay, so let's get the macro lens on and we'll have a look at it in closer detail. So just give it a little bit of a wipe. Right, let me just adjust the time. Okay, here we go. So here's the printed logo, nice and fine. Moving down to the print work on the bottom half as well, again, very crisp. Just pop there. And here we have one of our syringe hands. You can see the polished finish to it. Very nice and neat, and same again for the other hand, polished finish. And our second hand ticking away there. And some of our hour markers, nice and deep as you can see, nice quality, and just our printed sort of radial gradient there. You can see nice kind of rustic feel to it, looks really good. And finally here's our date window as well, with our black date wheel and like a chamfered edge around it as well, which is nice and neat. Moving on to the bezel then, it picks up fingerprints quite easily, as you can see, but here's some of our markings on the ceramic insert. Very nice and neatly manufactured, as you can see there. And then our grip, really easy to use. And if we flip it over here, we'll see our crown with the similar grip as well. So I've just unscrewed that so you can see the thread, and polished shoulder there our brush side as well. So really nice and neat machining of the entire case. Flipping it over, here's our case back with our octopus engraving and some very specifics around the outside. And finally our strap, so we can see this sort of a cross-hatchy, scratchy kind of finish to it, which I'm not entirely sure on. Finally, our tang buckle with the Phoibos logo lightly engraved on the top. It's brushed, so it will repel scratches, better than a polished buckle, but it still would have been nice to have seen something a little bit more unique. Okay, so when it comes to the full RRP of $520 or £400, I don't think it quite does it for me enough to justify the full RRP. However, it is a really, really good watch at the lower price of $359 or £275. I think for their first foray into original design, I think they've done a really, really good job with it. Certainly got some really great pluses. The bezel is really nice to use. This, the specs in general are excellent. Sapphire crystal as well, but as you can see, it's quite reflective. Specs are excellent. Miyota 915 movement, the ceramic bezel insert, just the general build quality is really, really good as well. I love the shark fin grip to the bezel and the crown. They've got so many good things going for it. Two negative things really is the strap, just a little bit underwhelming. The logo may be a little bit smaller as well, but again, that's a personal taste choice. So I think, from a timepiece standpoint, it is very, very good watch. There's no doubting that. And it's nice to see a diver looking a little bit different as well. It's not the same old really. They've done a good job in creating something a little bit more unique, a little bit different to what is out there so much. So still a very good watch. Obviously it has some failings, but that's just one of those things, isn't it? So this was the Phoibos Eagle Ray, and that's what it's all about. So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe and comment, and I'll see you around. See you next time.